So as we can see in the rankings right now, and I really care about this because I care about competitive formats and the way that things are represented and the way you actually come to a conclusion about seeding. So a lot of you are probably going to not care about any of this shit, but I don't care because it's my stream and I'm going to talk about it to you and you're going to listen. So I was not being a dick to Zyrene. I was being very reasonable with Zyrene. We were having a conversation. No, you don't need to see... Oh, we can't see behind my face. Well, fine. Make me smaller. But this is the only part that matters, so... right here, basically, so we can see that Immortals and Envious are tied at second in the standings. And this is not bad. I mean, we both have the same match score, and I was arguing that Immortals should be ranked 2 and Envy should be ranked 3 because the teams, if the playoffs were to happen today... that would be the ranking. They're not actually tied, guys, because there are tiebreakers that are implemented in this, right? And, well, this annoys me, and is sort of irrelevant. The point I want to actually address is the problem with the difference in tiebreakers between the Korean League and the North American LCS that are both on these best-of-3 formats, right? So they're not technically tied. It shouldn't reflect that, in my opinion. Immortals owns both the match score differential, because we're going to take a look at this, and you'll see right here that Immortals is 11-4, while Envious is 10-5. Moreover, Immortals beat Envious 2-0, so they own the head-to-head. So this is accurate, 2-3, because if the playoffs were to happen today, that's how the tie would be broken, and that's the whole point of tiebreakers is they break ties. These teams are not tied. They're not. In the rules, it says there's a tiebreaker. It hasn't been followed. So what is the tiebreaker? So the tiebreaker rules, right here, as we see, if two teams have the same percentage of Series 1, so the same record, in best-of-3s, ties will be broken by head-to-head record, percentage of games won, and then the third tiebreaker is if still tied, there will be a tiebreaker game played, etc. So what I disagree is this. The first tiebreaker being head-to-head record, and the second tiebreaker being percentage of games won, or, as we'll call it, game differential. So it's +8 here for Immortals, and only +5 for Envy. Okay? So I'm going to make an argument that this should be reversed. Head-to-head record should be below percentage of games won. And we're going to do it, we're going to use the worst-case scenario, so be reasonable, and I'm going to write this on the screen. So we're going to use the worst-case scenario, and it may look bad, worse than it might otherwise look, okay? Just because we are going to be using something that looks pretty bad. So we'll just use red, and then we'll make one in blue. Okay. So here is the main problem. God damn it. How do I change size? Help. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, whatever. Anyway, this is going to be Team A. Well, I can't actually do this. Okay, this is stupid. I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to do it a different way, guys. Screw you, XSplit. You suck. We're going to do it a different way. Here we go. Shut up. So, as we take a look at this, and I'll make myself a little bit smaller. So, here's the problem with this format. So we have two teams. We have Team A, and we have Team B. Okay? So, both teams we're going to pretend are, in fact, both 16-2. So, Team A, 16-2, BO3 record. So they both have 16-2 BO3 records, right? So okay, this is a tie. So here's a scenario, though. Team A has a game record of, let's say, You need 32 wins to win 8 best of 3s. So they have a game record of 32-4. So they've 2-0'd every single other team, and therefore they have a match differential of plus 28. Huge record. But they lost to Team B 2-0 2 times. That's their only 4 losses, okay? Meanwhile, Team B, they have a game record of 32-18. So what this says is that they beat Team A 2-0 twice. Then they beat other teams, all the other teams in the league, okay? Let's say 2-1. So if they had 7 series, 7 best of 3s, where they got 1 win, or 14 best of 3s because it's a double round robin, then they would have gotten 14 wins, okay, off of winning 2-1. And then they got the 2-2-0s, right? But they also got 0-2 twice. So they have the same best of 3 record, but they have 14 losses from 2-1 victories and 2 losses from 2-0 victories, right? So they only have a match differential of plus 14. Literally half of what Team A's record is. But they beat... Oh, let's fix this. Team A 2-0 2 times. They lost 0-2 2 times. They win all other series 2-1. They win all other series 2-0. So we have to ask ourselves at this point, what is the purpose of a league? What is the purpose of a league format? The purpose of a league format, when you have this running into a regular season and the fact that we're doing these double round robins and best of 3s, the purpose is to figure out over time the most consistent teams, right? Well, all the teams are going to be consistent in one way or another, right? Whether it's poor consistency, mediocre consistency, or good consistency. So the reason why sports do this is to get seeding for playoffs, to have an accurate representation of seeding, right? So Team A, maybe it's a bad matchup versus Team B. Maybe they were just off those 2 days, and every other time they just slammed. They slammed every other team in the league. All other 8 teams in this 10-team league, they're just destroying, right? So why would you have it? Because in this scenario where Team A and Team B have equal records, even though Team A has a plus 28 differential and is 32-4 in games compared to 32-18, and the match differential of plus 14 because Team B has been struggling against all the other teams, or at least just barely coming out on top. Team B would be number 1 seed because they have a 2-0 against Team A. That is, in my opinion, ridiculous. Why should that even occur? The whole point was to figure out that Team A, against the vast majority of the field, was by far the best team and deserving of the number 1 seed. So this changes a lot of the seeding within the league, right? So that's why that's why match differential should be the first tiebreaker. Because if 2 teams have won and lost the same number of games proportionally, for example, if both teams had the same number of wins and the same number of losses, then you go to head-to-head as a second tiebreaker to decide who's the better team, because both teams performed against the entire field in an even fashion to each other, and then it comes to how they performed against each other as a second tiebreaker. So I really don't like this system that Riot has, because it rewards teams for too much for 1 or 2 best of 3 series, as opposed to the majority of the season that they have been playing. Because if you're going to do this, there's actually no point in running a league format, because it defeats the entire purpose of having a league in the first place, which is to decide over an extended period of time where the teams are ranked in relation to each other. Team B ranks much worse against the entire league than Team A does, but if they rank well against Team A, then I guess they just get number 1 seed. Like, it's stupid. In playoffs. Now, people are going to say... So we get a subscription here. Thank you for resubscribing, Erebus Black. But people are going to say, well, it shows that Team B is better than Team A. No, it doesn't. It shows that in that matchup, Team B is better, but the purpose of a league is to determine who is the best against all other teams. That's why you have playoffs at the end, so that this matchup can reoccur, and you can see if, in fact, there's a weakness to Team A, if Team B instead has some sort of stylistic advantage over Team A. Maybe they just get super hyped up and perform. They were streaky, they got lucky, who knows? But what is the point of running a long-form league if you're going to have this particular tiebreaker? Like, you guys are confusing league formats with playoff formats. And no, Surp the Terp. It's not your argument is saying like an NFL team that leads all 4 quarters should be ranked higher than the team that comes back in the 4th quarter. These are finished games. The games are done. You don't have best of 3s in the NFL or other sports. Okay? It's about who won more games. It's about who won more games, guys. And the the better ranking system is just match differential. First tiebreaker should be match differential. If 2 teams are 16-2, it should be who has the bigger gap between the game wins and game losses. Right? That's what it should be. Difference between wins and losses. The match differential of plus 28 shows a lot more over the course of a regular season than the match differential of plus 14. Yeah, so it's a bad system. In Korea, so in LCK, we use match differential. So the tiebreakers are match differential, then head-to-head record, right? Not head-to-head record, then match differential. So yeah, I'm done. That's it. It's bad for. I don't like this format. I think it's, again, this is the most extreme case that this could happen. The most extreme, but it's still. It goes to prove a point where it doesn't have to be this way, and head-to-head records still matter as a secondary tiebreaker. They just don't actually matter as a primary tiebreaker, as the primary reason to decide who is actually going to be seeded into the playoffs. So there you go. That's why so anyway, I got into this today because when I looked at the bracket, I saw Immortals and Envy were tied, and I was like, why are they tied? And I thought there might be like some really weird tiebreaker, but then it just came down to this isn't presenting information in a clear manner and not representing the actual tiebreaker rules that Riot have in place. In any case, Envy is third, right? Liquid and Apex, I don't know who did they play yet? Okay, they haven't played yet, so those guys are actually tied, I guess, under Riot system. But at the same time, because they haven't played yet, it should be game differential, which is even right now, 8-8 and 7-7. So they actually are tied. Apex and Liquid are actually tied. So I know you guys really don't care about that, but I really care about it. Because I like formats that actually have consistency in their logic. And I care about how these things play out because it makes a big difference on the teams and on the competition as a whole. So we're done. We're done here with my example, my Google Docs example. And we'll do a